everyone. Today we are coming at you with a fantastic bread recipe.
Yep, it's a crusty loaf and super easy to make, start to finish, 4 hours, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up and a comment if you try this recipe. I'm also going to link in here the recipe for the French style baguettes, which is another really easy to make and really delicious recipe. So enjoy.
I just wanted to also add that this bread recipe is really easy and also very cost effective.
Yeah, I think we figured in American money, 75 cents for a loaf.
Yeah, the entire loaf.
Yeah, so that's
which you would pay well over $5 for in our area.
Yeah, definitely. So enjoy. Hello and thanks for watching my video on making a beautiful, crusty, no-knead loaf of bread. Start to finish, it only takes about 4 hours. That includes baking. This is the easiest bread that you'll ever make. And the ingredients are super simple. So the ingredients for the bread are 3 cups of plain flour, 1/4 teaspoon of yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 cups of warm to hot water, which helps activate the yeast. Now I will make a note, if you're using bread flour, which I do not use, you'll need 1 3/4 cups of water. So you just modify your water content based on the amount of the type of flour that you're using. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to take 3 cups of flour. And this is plain flour. This is pretty good quality flour that I use, but you could probably use any. Okay, there's 3 cups of flour. And 1/4 teaspoon of yeast, which is a very small amount, but this is all it needs. And just kind of sprinkle it around. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. And once again, I use a high quality salt. I don't like salts that have fillers, so it's just pure sea salt. And then I just kind of mix it around to make sure that the yeast and the salt are incorporated throughout the flour. And then 1.5 cups of warm water. And you can use 1 3/4 if you're using bread flour. And just put it all in together and incorporate. So we're literally just mixing it. We're not doing any kneading of any kind. This is extremely simple. We just want to make sure that all of the flour is dissolved into the water and the ingredients they're all mixed. And you'll see as it's coming together, it'll start to get sticky, and that's exactly what we want. I'll just keep mixing it here. It's coming together nicely. Now, depending on where you live, if you live in a warm part of the country, you can just cover this and leave it on the counter. If you live in a colder area, you might want to put it in a warming drawer, or what I tend to do is just put the oven on for a minute or 2 at the most, which just gives it a slight little bit of heat, and then turning it off, and then just putting it in there. That way it'll be in a warmer environment. But that is it. So it's not quite picked up all the flour yet, so I'm gonna mix it a little more. You can also use just a wooden spoon for this. Sometimes I'll even use the handle of a wooden spoon. So just keep mixing it until all of the loose flour is incorporated. Pretty much getting there right now. That's it now. So I'm just going to scrape off the sides. Make sure there's no loose flour there underneath. I think we're in great shape, and you can kind of see the consistency here is just kind of a sticky dough ball. Absolutely no kneading. All we have done is mix it. Okay, so that's it now. We're going to cover it. I'll use plastic wrap on here, but you could use a towel, for 3 hours. Okay, so now the dough has been sitting for 3 hours, covered, and it has risen, as you can see. There's lots of air bubbles forming. So what I'm going to do now is going to put some flour on a board. I'm only doing this so it doesn't stick. And then I'm going to tip this out. Onto here. And I'm going to sprinkle flour on the top. I'm just going to fold it over a few times. Like that. The resistance is already getting harder. A little bit more flour on it, stops it just sticking. Okay. All right, kind of pinch it in. And then we're going to place it into a piece of parchment paper that's sitting on top of a bowl. So sit it in there like that. And you can see that. And then I'm going to put this I'm actually going to put a little dusting of flour on the top and put this piece of saran wrap that was covering it before on here, just stops it drying out. Okay, so now I take a Dutch oven and I'm going to turn the oven to 450 and preheat the oven to 450 with the Dutch oven inside. So that's the next step. Okay, so I'm going to turn this to 450. And put the Dutch oven inside, heating up. And we'll come back once that's preheated. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the tray here a little bit. This is super hot, so be very careful. Take off the lid, and we're going to put our bread in there. Just be careful you do not touch that because it is so hot. And put the lid back on. And close it up for 30 minutes, and then in 30 minutes we're going to take the lid off. Depending on how brown it is, leave it in for another 5 to 10 minutes with the lid off. So we'll set a 30-minute timer right now. Okay, so it has been in the oven for 30 minutes. So we're going to take the lid off and check it out. Ooh, that's looking good. So it's not as brown as I want it to be. So we'll go ahead and close it up and leave it in for another 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 7 minutes. And all right, that looks absolutely perfect. So I'm going to take this out and put it on a cooling rack, and then I will show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've had it sitting on the drying rack. It just helps air get under it so it doesn't kind of sweat. Now let's go ahead and cut this open and take a look and see what it looks like inside. Ooh, listen to that. All right, look at that, delicious bread in no time at all. And I can tell you, because I'm gonna sit and eat this right now with some butter on it, that is delicious.